Hi, everyone. My name is Hector Joshua Galindo, but everyone calls me Josh. I'm sorry I can't be with you in New Orleans today, but you are definitely in good hands with Al. Me and Al have been teaching together. This will now be our fifth year together. I'm excited that you get to spend some part of your day with him. You will not be disappointed. But before Al kind of takes over and begins talking more about our class, I kind of wanted to give an overview of the assignments and things that are going to be due, just so that you kind of have an idea and somewhere that you can come back to if you have any questions, even throughout the summer. So the first part is the assignment overview. In the assignment overview, we kind of go over where your 100% comes from. 30% comes from a final reflective journal. The other 30% comes from a conflict integration project. Now, the final reflective journal you will complete independently, and it is an 8 to 10 page paper, and we'll talk in more detail. The conflict project you will complete roughly in a group of 4, depending, maybe a group of 5 here or there, depending on the size of the cohort. The remaining 40% is going to come in 4 components. Your in-class participation, whether that be in group projects or just open discussion, the reading rubrics, and we'll discuss in more detail how to specifically complete a reading rubric, and then your personal conflict scenarios and case study analysis. Now, for the pre-course assignments, they're kind of broken up into 2 major things. Your first one is completing 2 personal conflict scenarios. I'm not going to go into detail as it's here on the screen and it's also in the syllabus, but really when we are looking at these personal conflict scenarios, I really want you to think to 2 major conflicts that you had in your life, whether that be professionally or personally. And in this, we kind of want you to take a deep dive. And as you're writing this, it's going to end at a crisis point. You will be in groups of 3. And in these groups, you will share your conflict scenarios with the other 2 people in your group. The other 2 people in your group will eventually role play your scenarios and will complete a case study analysis on your conflict scenario to help you get a better idea to see it from a different perspective. So as you're completing your conflict scenarios, you will also have your reading rubrics. There will be 8 reading rubrics that you will submit, and all of this, your conflict scenarios and reading rubrics, have already been made as assignments on your Google Classroom under pre-course assignments. In your 8 reading rubrics that you will complete, 1 of them is going to be the article Learning Through Reflection, and then 7 of them will come from the book Getting Past No. Now, the book has been separated into 7 sections, and the instructions have already been uploaded onto Google Classroom. So just follow those instructions on how the sections are broken up, and then just complete the 7 reading rubrics for the book. They will all be completed on 1 document so that when you submit them to Google Classroom, it should just be 1 document that just has multiple pages. And then the article has also been set up as its own individual assignment that you will submit separately from the Getting Past No rubrics. Now, those pretty much make up your pre-course assignments. After this, we just kind of want to get more into what your reading rubrics are going to look like. Now you can see that you have the title of the article or the chapter that you will be looking at the bottom, the APA citation of the article or that book. Now the reason why we have that is because as you begin to move towards completion of your mid and final reflection journal, if you already have the APA citations of each of these articles, then you pretty much have already made your reference sheet when that time comes. Now, the reading rubric is going to be completed as 1 page, and it's really just 4 quadrants, and a blank reading rubric has been uploaded for every article or book that you have. An exemplar reading rubric has also already been uploaded under your pre-course assignments. Now, when we look at the 4 quadrants, you can see that we have vocabulary in this. Any new vocabulary, maybe theories or things that were introduced, whether it be in the articles or the books, you would want to capture here. On the opposite side, you have love. These are any things that are like quotes or lines or phrases that may have come up in the articles or the books where you're like, I just cannot pass this up. And so you would put that in that section. Below it, we have the big ideas. And here, these are kind of like the main ideas that summarize the comprehensiveness of that article or book or that book section. And then lastly, in the bottom quadrant, we have questions. This can be questions that are generated as you're reading. It can be questions that you may be confused on, questions that you just want kind of deeper insight, questions that you would just kind of want to engage in. And then in this section, as you come to class, we will be looking at these reading rubrics, and that will help us as we do our group talks when we separate into like stand up, hand up, pair up, and we're talking with partners. And so this reading rubric will help you both in class participation, but also as you begin to design your mid and final reflection journals. A lot of the information that you put within these reading rubrics can already be moved and connected into your reflection journal. Now, the case study analysis is going to be how you will look at the personal conflict scenarios. So if you can see, you have person ABC, which is the three people that you would have in that group. And then I've kind of made a table of how person A completes one from person B and person C, so that not one person is doubling up. Every person is doing a case study analysis for one of the conflict scenarios from their partners in their group. You will eventually role play them when we have later on into the class as we go. In these case study analysis, we have provided you with 8 questions to really look at. These questions at the moment when you first start off may not mean anything to you, but as we go through the class, we will begin talking about worldview, situational factors, position, feelings, and needs. And as you begin to learn more vocabulary and topics from the articles, books, and classroom discussions, you will be able to update and revise your case study analysis until your final copy is due on July 10th. Now, you've heard me talk about a mid and a final reflection journal. They are the exact same assignment. Now, you have your mid reflection journal, which is due on July 7th. By that time, we have probably gone through all the topics associated with negotiation. As we transition into your final reflection journal, which is due about a week later on July 14th, you will integrate any feedback that we have given you, and then mediation and restorative justice topics. So when we look at this, we have gone over kind of what common pitfalls that we see, particular articles, and all of this is on your Google Classroom in more detail. But just kind of what you will see, you will submit it on July 7th. By that Monday, you'll have feedback from either Al or I on this. And the same person who gives you feedback on your mid-reflection journal is the same person who will grade your final. So just so that the feedback and the grading can stay consistent among the cohort. Common pitfalls that we see, a lot of the times their reflections remain superficial. They don't go into depth into them. They have very few connections to the reading. There's not a lot of association or deep analysis. Sometimes we also see people where they want to talk a lot about topics that we have discussed in class, but they're basically regurgitating vocabulary to us as opposed to applying that vocabulary term to their actual real life scenario. Now, the second major project that you will have besides your final reflection journal is your conflict integration project. Now, your conflict integration project is going to consist of a group of 4 people. In this group of 4, one of the students will be selected, and the student who's selected, their school will be basically the anchor for everything you design around it. So as you're discussing whose school you want to do, really we're looking, once the school has been identified, you will work with your group to develop a comprehensive approach to how they would integrate a conflict scenario or conflict resolution project into their school, whether that be through a negotiation, peer mediation, whether that be restorative justice. We'll leave that up to you, but all of that and your reasoning behind why a particular project or program should be implemented is going to come from the data audit that you're completing within that school. So you'll complete a minor data audit of that school. You'll identify short-term and long-term goals along to the finding of that data audit, and then a plan of action to ensure fidelity of that program. Now, as you go through, we've kind of given you a criteria for success that kind of goes over what we're really looking for within this project. You will have a 12-page paper that's associated with this, and the page numbers are broken down within their components: the data audit, goals, plan of action, and evaluative outcomes. Also, we've kind of looked at things that you need to account for or address within your project, particular power maps, gaps in theory of actions and espoused theories, strategic plan for rollout, and kind of what your presentation will be, 10 to 12 slides. You'll have about 12 minutes to present your overall comprehensive project to us. a folder will be shared with you, and you'll be able to upload everything into that folder so that those folders can then be shared with everyone. So kind of the end goal of this conflict integration project was kind of to expose you to many things that you will see throughout your time here in SPA. Um, Through the internship, you will be exposed to a data audit project. As you move into your second summer, you will have a resource allocation project and your new school design that you will be working on as you go into the spring semester of your internship year. So when looking at the conflict integration project, we really wanted to take multiple facets of things that you would be exposed to throughout SPA and then designed a project that would allow you to have that, which is why you have a minor data audit of your school, which is why you have this presentation and slide project, which is why you have a 12-minute presentation in which you discuss, so that by the time you get to these particular classes, it will not be the first time that you have engaged in them and have experienced them through this class in a smaller project. So really, besides your reflection paper that you'll be doing on this conflict integration project, those are really the heaviest lifts that you will experience for us. As we go into the course, we'll go more into depth into a lot of these projects that you will be seeing, but we kind of just wanted to give you an overview of what to expect. You are more than willing to read the syllabus, the criteria for success on them. And then once we see who has finalized into the cohort and we meet you day one, we'll start breaking up everyone into different groups so that you will have ample time to be able to work on these particular projects. I just wanted to thank you for joining this program, for having me be able to present to you kind of the assignments that you have. If you have any questions, you are more than willing to email us. And as we start sometime mid-June, I believe, June 26th, June 27th, it was our first day of class. We will be there prior, so if you need to email us anytime before then or reach out to us about anything that you may have, you are more than willing to do so. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the day that you have with Al, and I will see you this summer down in NOLA. Thank you.